Welcome back. Today, we're reopening the pages of one of the darkest and most mysterious creations of the Middle Ages. So get ready, because this story goes far deeper than legend. Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible. Imagine opening a book so massive, so ancient, and so mysterious that its very existence feels like a challenge to the natural order. A book that weighs more than some people, stands nearly a meter tall, and holds within its pages centuries of knowledge, scripture, medicine, and legend. A book that earned a name whispered across Europe for generations. The Devil's Bible. This isn't fantasy. This is the Codex Gigas, the largest medieval manuscript ever discovered, and one of the most enigmatic creations of the Middle Ages. Our story begins in the early 13th century, in a small Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic. Around the year 1210, a single monk whose identity remains unknown began writing a work unlike any other. Not an ordinary manuscript, not a simple scripture, but a massive compendium of everything his world knew. A complete Latin Bible, encyclopedias, medical knowledge, historical chronicles, calendars, and even exorcism formulas. Page after page, all written in a remarkably consistent hand, as if produced by one man, working tirelessly for years, maybe decades. Historians believe that creating a book of this size would require the skins of around 160 animals. Preparing each piece of parchment was an extremely labor-intensive process, involving scraping, stretching, and polishing the animal hides by hand. The scale of the task alone highlights the extraordinary dedication and skill needed to produce the Codex Gigas. This isn't a myth. It's based on parchment analysis and expert reports. Writing it would take at least 20 years of continuous labor, and yet, somehow, it exists. But the Codex Gigas became famous not just for its size. It became legendary because of a single page, unlike anything else in medieval Christian manuscripts. A full-page illustration of a horned figure claws, green skin, squatting in a menacing pose. A visual representation of the devil, drawn with such boldness and detail that it still unsettles viewers today. It is this image that birthed the legend. According to a later medieval tale, not a historical fact, but folklore that grew around the book, the monk who wrote the Codex had broken his vows and was sentenced to be walled up alive. Desperate, he begged for a chance to create a book that would glorify the monastery forever. He promised to finish it in a single night. When he realized the task was impossible, the story claims he called upon the devil for help, offering his soul in exchange for completing the manuscript. As proof of this pact, he allegedly added the great portrait of the devil himself. It's a dark, chilling story, but it's important to remember, this is myth, not history. There is no evidence of a demonic pact. What is real is the fascination that this image and the book around it sparked for centuries. The manuscript survived fires, wars, and political turmoil. During the 30 Years' War in 1648, the Swedish army seized it as war booty from Prague and carried it to Stockholm, where it remains to this day in the National Library of Sweden. Over 700 years after its creation, the Codex Gigas is still intact, its colors vivid, its illustrations powerful, its mystery unbroken. Modern scholars have examined it closely. They've confirmed that the handwriting is consistent throughout likely the work of one dedicated monk. They've identified the texts it contains. They've analyzed the parchment and the inks. Everything points not to magic or the supernatural, but to an astonishing human feat. The perseverance of a solitary scribe who committed decades of his life to creating something monumental. And yet, despite everything we know, something lingers. Why was the devil given his own page? Why choose such a striking, intimidating depiction? Why include exorcisms alongside biblical texts? And what compelled one man to devote a lifetime to a single book? These are the questions that keep Codex Gigas shrouded in a veil of mystery. A book that stands at the crossroads of faith and fear, devotion and darkness, scholarship and legend. In the end, what makes the Codex Gigas so haunting isn't the devil drawn inside it, but the idea that one human, in the quiet halls of an isolated monastery, crafted a masterpiece so vast and so enigmatic that the world still struggles to understand it. A book that should not exist, yet does. A mystery carved into parchment, a voice echoing across 8 centuries. The Devil's Bible. Or perhaps simply the most astonishing manuscript the medieval world ever produced. If you enjoyed diving into these myths and legends, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more stories from the shadows of history, and let me know in the comments which legend you want to uncover next.